This is a story set in the high Andes. It's a story about a couple of train robbers who took a journey to the ends of the earth. They were a legend in their own lifetime, a legend that finally captured the imagination of the entire world. So my quest is to follow their trail, up remote desert mountains, down suffocating mines, and through the arid, salt-laden wastes of Bolivia.
My name's David Adams, and I'm on the last trail of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Come on! Ah.
Our story starts at the dawn of the last century in Bolivia, a South American country so isolated that it was a natural destination for anyone running from the law. And it's one of the world's highest countries, much of it perched on a plateau well above 12,000 feet, or 3,600 metres. My journey starts at the foot of the Andes and ends in a tiny ghost town called San Vicente. I'm here to find out what really happened to Robert Leroy Parker, alias Butch Cassidy, and Harry Alonzo Longbow, alias the Sundance Kid. But getting up to these highlands is a real challenge, certainly the way I'm going. This is the village of Corico. To get to the Bolivian high plains, I need to find someone to take me up a tortuous winding road that's caused the death of thousands.
A la paz, por favor. Sí? Gracias. Muchas gracias.
The cheapest way is by truck.
I'm at about 6,000 feet here, and those high desert plains are another 7,000 feet straight up.
This old Dodge has clearly seen better days, but these wires hanging out of the dash serve a vital purpose. Yep, this is the starter. This road was recently classified as the most dangerous in the world, and at the moment, I'm in no position to argue.
It's not actually the 1,000-foot drop that's the problem. It's being in these vehicles and not having any control. It's actually about 26 of these trucks went over in just 1 year. And then there's the waterfall.
And waterfalls mean landslides. They happen up here all the time. Butch and Sundance would have made this trip by mule. It would have been very slow, but a lot less hair-raising. Up here, trucks don't pass each other, they play chicken. And you can see why a couple of desperados, like Butch and Sundance, would choose these mountains. Even today, they're a great place to hide. At around the 16,000 feet mark, we reach the Yungas Pass, the doorway to one of the most remote deserts on Earth. Six hours it's taken, and there before me at last is the Altiplano, the high plain of the Bolivian Andes. Below, is La Paz. At 4,000 metres or 13,000 feet, it's the highest capital city in the world.
And to give you an idea what that means, if you're watching this at sea level, go outside and look up 4 kilometres or 2.5 miles, and that's where I'm standing. It's quite remarkable there's a city here at all.
La Paz dates from the 16th century, and you can still see the signs of its colonial Spanish splendour. Bolivia is famous for its revolutions. In 170 years, there have been nearly 190 coups, and they all had their epicentre here, in front of the presidential palace in the heart of La Paz. And this is a very unusual place to be. For example, this is the witchcraft market. Here you can buy the stuff to cast charms, curses, and spells. And then there's the black market. And that's exactly what it is, a place to buy and sell stolen goods. Just the sort of market you'd expect to find Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Butch and Sundance weren't just ordinary criminals. Back home, they were celebrities whose exploits often appeared in the big city newspapers. The papers gave their gang great titles. The Train Robbers Syndicate, the Hole in the Wall Gang, and the Wild Bunch. In 10 years, they allegedly got away with around $2.5 million in today's currency. But then they got overconfident. In 1900, the Wild Bunch posed for this photograph in Fort Worth, Texas. Sundance is on the far left and Butch is on the right. A year later, Sundance posed with girlfriend Etta Place in New York. The pictures found their way onto wanted posters plastered across the USA. With $20,000 rewards on their heads, they fled to Bolivia, which is how they came to be in La Paz. But they weren't just dodging the law, they were also fleeing from a rapidly changing world.
For example, the Wright brothers had already been flying for 5 years. In New York, skyscrapers were starting to appear on the skyline. Motor cars, telephones, and movies were just about to happen. In other words, it was the dawning of a brand new age. And old-time outlaws like Butch and Sundance were simply running out of time.
This was one of their favourite haunts, and it's here that I've arranged to meet my travelling companion, Moshi.
Yeah, how are you?
¿Cómo estás?
Sorry I'm late, though it took me some time to try and find it.
He's a serving Bolivian cavalry officer, the same guys who eventually ran Butch and Sundance to ground. So who better to help me retrace their last days? Butch and Sundance loved expensive restaurants and vacations.
Few people.
Yeah?
Today, imported Spanish champagne and the finest llama steaks on the menu cost us over $100. More than the average Bolivian farmer earns in a week. And it was just as pricey back in Butch and Sundance's day.
Huh? But of course, they had to pay for it.
And they paid for it in the only way they knew how.